Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our celebration of Paper Teller Diorama from Great Weather for Media. If you haven't seen the anthology, if you're interested, that's what it looks like. And today we have 10 of our contributors who are going to be reading. I'm your host, Mary McLaughlin Slechta, and we've got a couple editors at least joining us today. We've got Jane Ormerod and Lindsay Ellis. Thomas Fucaloro, David Lawton, George Wallace are all here in spirit. And so let's get started. If you were here at the launch in October, we've been doing these, I think, since August. David Lawton introduced us to the amazing artist, Amy Breyer, who did our cover. So I just wanted to remind everybody about the title itself, though, because I think it really speaks to the readers today. If you reread the introduction, it says that it reminds us that paper teller diorama is imagined as, you know, these little paper things that we used to play with when we were all kids, or some of us played with anyway, some a little bit more than others. It was little paper things, and you'd choose a number or a color or something, and you could flip around with those. And we, as editors, we thought about that as an image and decided that, you know, we could see in the work that things were based on chance and play, hiding secrets, and hope, and the work that we had seen last year. And I think you'll see that demonstrated very well this afternoon. So thank you very much, all of the contributors who agreed to be here today. I'm really, really proud and pleased to have you joining us. First up is going to be Amma Birch. Amma is the author of 3 books, Faces in the Clouds, Sonnet Boom, and Ferguson Interview Project. And she's also the creator of a video game available for Android, Space Quake by Amma Birch. She has an MFA in creative writing from the California Institute of the Arts and a BA in theater arts from the State University of New York at New Paltz. Welcome, Amma.
Hi. Mic check. Do I sound all right? All right. You know, thanks to Great Weather for Media for having me today. I'm glad to kick off the reading. Ouch. That hurt. I have a boo-boo. Feel the pain. Here's the poem that's in Paper Teller Diorama. Greenhouse. Put on your makeup, ride in an airplane, angel fish swims past. Let's go to the ballpark, bounce beach ball, bounce into a black hole. Some days I dress like a blueberry, remembering a Monopoly game, the drive to get to Boardwalk, wearing a bow tie, brainstorming, a car wash, ride on, the catfish, drive me to, the caveman, a crossbow has me in its sights, oh great dragonfly, quick drop down menu, fingernail, firefly, firework, the world is a fish bowl, fisherman with a fish hook and a football for forgiveness. Cherish the French fry. Good night, grandchild. I was born near the groundhog. Have you ever been handcuffed? I've been given handouts with a handshake. My supervisor wears a headband, the honeydew of the morning, the ice cream of the afternoon, kids playing kickball, kickboxing, I on my laptop, a lifetime of change, a lighthouse with a dying flame, mailman return, midnight gospel, give me a milkshake, let me moonwalk, it's a newborn, here's the newsletter, I need a nightlight. This morning my nose bled. Paycheck policeman looks for a ponytail postcard, racquetball, railroad, raindrop, hell, rattlesnake, rocket ship the size of a rowboat, sail away, sailboat, spotlight of blackness, show off shoelace, grab a snowball, a blanket of snowflakes, it's a snowball, a solar system, soundproof spaceship, Take me away, grab the spearmint, follow the starfish, golden seeds of a strawberry make me wear sunglasses. Take out the timekeeper, follow the fabric timeline. Where is the timekeeper? My heart needs a tugboat. Here comes the water boy with a watermelon. He is in a wheelchair without work boots. Recently, I was awarded a New York City Arts Corps grant, and that's through the New York City Office of Cultural Affairs, the Office of the Mayor of New York City, and the New York Foundation of the Arts. And I was commissioned to write some poetry about Ridgewood, New York, here in Queens, where I live. And I wrote a long poem called Fresh Pond Road. I'm going to read some excerpts from that. This first part is Metropolitan Avenue. CVS pharmacy, open 24 hours, Minute Clinic, Fresh Pond, car wash, open 7 days, entrance, tropical restaurant number 3, 1866661 Tropic, Comedia Típica, Costa Rica, Ecuadorama, Queens Instrument Co., auto air conditioning, sideshow, skateboards, clothing, accessories, tattoo, True Blue piercing, Roadmasters 2, no credit, bad credit, instant approval rating as low as 1.99%, spot delivery, plates and registration, all vehicles are New York State inspected and warranty, veterinarian care group, parking for beach, bum tanning only, beach bum tanning, beach bum sunless tanning, infrared services, centers urgent care, Taco Bell coming soon. Gates Avenue. Fresh Pond Liquor Inc., liquor store, and selection of domestic and imported wines and liquor, Hennessy, Rustico, JRX Pharmacy, specialty medication, compounding, Hocevar Real Estate, My Jarabaca #1 Restaurant, Spanish American cuisine, and seafood specialties, free delivery. We cater, vacant, cheese and cold cuts, Eye Optical, Animal Hospital, open 7 days a week, Animal Clinic of Queens, vacant law offices, Odie Beauty Spa, Albanian Grocery, Give Me Paw, 99cent and Up Store, Yang Hua, Trading Inc., Houseware, Stationery, Gifts, Toys, Family Dentistry, New Olympia Health Club, Energy Fuel, Christie Styles, Inc., Garden Convenience Deli, Restaurant, Juice Bar. The last poem I'm going to read today is for all of the people working to save the East River Park here in New York City. It's called Trees, Trees, Trees. Cut, 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 down, 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 down. Delancey owned a cherry orchard. Where have all the cherry trees gone, 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 gone? I was born during a blizzard on the Lower East Side. My parents walked in this park. Trees, 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 trees cry out our names. Down, 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 down the block. I went to high school. Shout out to my classmates in the future. We will all be gone, 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 gone. Cut, glass, cuts, 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 still bruised. What can be done for trees, 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 trees. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Amma, for, can you hear me at all? Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for getting us started with that. Amazing, so powerful. Thank you. Next on our list was, if you are a contributor, you know, we had Sarah E. Furman. We're going to put her up a little bit later because she's having some technical problems right now. Karl Michael Iglesias, are you ready?
Yeah,
Karl?
thank you.
Yep, I'm going to read your bio first. Karl is originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Karl Michael Iglesias is an author, actor, and director. His work can be read at Acentos Review, Florida Review, Quelly Journal, Apogee, Westchester Review, and the Breakfast Poets Volume 4, Latinx. His debut chapbook, Catch a Glow, is available from Finishing Line Press. Karl lives in Brooklyn, New York, and welcome, Karl.
Hello. Thank you so much for the welcome. I'm super grateful to be in this space with all of you poets and to share my story with you all and to share some other stories as well. I'd love to start with my poem that's included in the anthology. And my poem is called Fault. And then they pull out a knife. Look at what you've done. And without breaking eye contact, they carve a slice of red velvet cake into their thigh. We both squint down and revere the glossy layers of forgotten muscle, breaking yet composed, fascinated. They dart a look at the bedroom mirror. Look, but I've already left. Thank you. I'm gonna read a little group of poems that is from my chapbook. It's called Catch a Glow. It's available at Finishing Line Press if anybody's interested. It's a collection of poems that is my response to Hurricane Maria and the disservice of our president at the time, and in support of my mother nation. This poem is called Tonight's Blackout. Fault on transmission line. The grid dropped and eventually outage. The deep sigh of dimming lights, all long blink for the outrage of an endless 48 hours. Got pressed with flat lines, distressed temples, bent brows, based off the uncertainty, based off the constant jettison. The coconut gets more light than Luis. And at dawn, I fell asleep at the gas station and I'm told there is enough, but we stay waiting. This year has been unplugged respiration. I need breath and un pastelón calientito and representation in the Senate. This is big stick, mi pana. Speak softly, save your voice. They take it in rhythm, the way nurse treats pulse. Thank you. When someone asks me if my family has power in Puerto Rico, it is usually with a lilied exhale, drained from a distant church pew, the name of my tired island offered as off-white pall, stitched of condolence, a circle of pale seagulls. But I am not sure who has died and who has electricity, or how long my cousin Gordo will be stuck at the airport, stalled and disconnected, tethered nets gathering flotsam. If something was wrong, I'd know. Right? Submerged, staggering undercurrent, ear squelching ground. Thank you. It's the last one from this little collection from the book, and this one is called, and then I have just a new poem that I'd like to share with you all. But this poem is called Left the Hotel That FEMA Stopped Paying For on Friday. Ended up at a shelter after action, making the president look bad. Hibiscus yawns on a once road baked in clay, Cabo Rojo to Brooklyn. Trickle of feet is dew drip. This is the first morning of homelessness. Making the president look bad, my family's everywhere. You see Taliana and her son FaceTiming Theo Cruz on the curb. Sol, our grand marshal, cries in Spanish in the wake, making the president look bad in a warning by the unsung agency in the parade. In a hotel lobby by the airport, there is nowhere to warm, churn a family laugh. There ain't goodwill for evicted psalms pinned, making the president look bad. Bluebird saying everything they heard from someone else. The rent late, displaced on the balls of feet, trauma for thunder. Bruno lying on asphalt, emergency lane, and we worry for the length of rest in a blanket of sirens, and the Atlantic Ocean ruins. And they build their beacon and cause the brick tower to deteriorate, and they lit a donation and welcome the street light. And ain't it hard just to live? Thank you. The poems are from Catch a Glow. My debut chapbook came out during our pandemic. And I'll just leave you with one brand new poem because I love that stuff. And I just wrote this not too long ago. But thank you everyone for your time and for allowing me to share some of my stories and stuff. I'll drop a little link in our chat just so if anybody wants to stay in touch, you can do that as well. Grateful for the community of poetry that we're in right now. This poem is called He Used to Know It All. Today, I have awkwardly referred to a new dance by the wrong name. It didn't happen today, but my bones speak up today, and when I stretch, today is the day I share it out loud, so it feels like it's happening all over again. What was the dance? It doesn't matter how good I was at staying the same boy. Now I am tomorrow and the past, washed even. I accidentally killed a teenager leaving indoor track practice. How do you always manage to be in such a rush? The engine fan is squealing impatient. I am driving with my knees at first, down the side street of 19th, hands under my hamstrings. My breath is alive and my billowing passenger. 17 years old at the stop sign turning onto Capitol. Are you still there? Snow, a quiet orange. From the street lights, my dying Subaru Impreza turns Mars rover. When was the last time you lost something? And now felt like it was a good day to prove I was alive, so I stepped on the gas, and the ashy snow sludges back into the air, tires gripping blindly into the intersection, and now the turn. How much do you think about yourself? And now the emergency brake pulls, spinning out of control, and I want to make the turn, but a foggy windshield and a drift spiral, a new dance, onto a snowbank, sidewalk, someone's front lawn. Are you ashamed? Nobody died that day. Thank you so much. I appreciate everyone here.
Thanks for the powerful words, Karl, and glad nobody died that day. Gripping. Thank you so much. We're going to move on. We've got Pichchenda Bao up next. Pichchenda is a Cambodian American writer and poet. infant survivor of the Khmer Rouge regime, daughter of refugees and feminist stay-at-home mother in New York City. Her work has been published in Adirondack Review, Raising Mothers, New Ohio Review, and elsewhere. Pichchenda is an incoming Kundiman Retreat Fellow in Poetry and a 2021 Bethany Arts Community Resident Artist. Welcome, Pichchenda.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to have a poem in this awesome anthology. It's really just such wonderful work to be reading and to be in company. And I'm so glad to be in space with all of you guys. I feel like all the poems so far have just been such a gift, and I'm so happy that I get to be part of it. I wanted to start with this poem that I've been working on for a while. It's, I think, really relevant because the Kyle Rittenhouse, that verdict just came out yesterday, and it really feels, sometimes at times like these, you kind of wonder like what poetry does or what it's supposed to do, and I don't really know. And also times like these, it makes me really wonder what mothers are supposed to do. And also I don't know. But here's a poem that I wrote. A boy is just a boy until he is given a gun and a story about who has the right to live and who has the right to kill. This particular order of violence perpetuating itself like a hall of mirrors his mother polishes. Boys are just boys, fattened for the news cycle. Someone circulates a recent picture of a baby-faced boy with a semi-automatic rifle, and someone sweet is saying, somebody probably bullied that soft-bodied boy. Someone sweet is saying, careful how you judge some mother's child. Someone sweet would never mention his race, or how some mothers give their boys the guns, the ammunition, the resolve. Some mothers give them everything they know. Such sweetness cloaks the judges, the defense attorneys, and the fundraisers who work to convince us that other mothers' sons were never boys anyone should have ever loved to begin with. Boys are just boys, and I'm afraid I don't know enough about grief and its endless iterations to raise my boys in this country. They don't always get what they want, and their faces dim with disbelief and the rage of someone who thought the world was limitless, at least for them. They are so little. Every single loss a catastrophe. I tell them, I love you no matter what, as I take away some small pleasure, as I clip their spreading wings for their own good. My boys, just boys, like all boys, whose preciousness won't be real until they're gone. Thank you. So I'll read the poem that I have in the anthology, which is about as close to a love poem I think that I'm going to be able to write. It's called Placebo. A friend once told me I was love-starved. I forget if this was after some failed pursuit or consummation. Whatever it was not enough. My heart, bloated with hunger, young and greedy, it would have eaten itself if it could. So now I must be reminded to love you. Even as I think about love's false faculties, I've been reading about how people can be cured of their ailments by the simple theater of treatment. No medicine in their pills, just faith, maybe. We don't know how it works. Remember how our courtship proceeded in daily increments, accumulating until we were so obvious. I've always been the one to ask for what we both want. Romance, not a feast or even balm, but a force we can't reckon with. I still ask, do you think we'll make it? Even though I already know your answer is enough. And I just have a couple more poems for you guys today. Thank you so much. This one's a new poem, actually. It's called Zuhitsu, which is a traditional Japanese form that's really based on like dream journals. In the dream I know is not a dream, I wait. Someone walks out on me and I want them to. A one-way door, reckless with sorrow and relief. Sometimes I don't feel anything at all, just a curious numbness like sleep. I'm looking for something, a bathroom, a jacket left behind, something I needed to take care of, something I know isn't lost, but still can't find. Sleep when the baby sleeps just means learn to live in delirium. My son says he can't sleep, has never slept. Bad dreams, and all he remembers is he needs me. Needs, his head burrowed into my shoulder, his fingers spread across my chest like creeping ivy. I used to forget if I had been dreaming or awake. When I fly in my dreams, I make myself soar. Parties in my dreams. There is my mother and father playing ping pong, although they don't know how to play in real life. An elementary school classmate line dances with my college professor, and an old neighbor makes a toast. We dance, we brush past each other in line for the bathroom. We'll get on the road, cram ourselves into a car that no one knows how to drive. The thing about sleep is that everything remains unresolved. Every time morning arrives and I'm still there, lost in a car full of strangers I thought I knew, waiting to get back. And here, this is my last poem. Thank you so much. Legacy. You would think I would know what to do with loss, remote like a prayer, urgent like a country. This can't be grief. I'm never sad enough. I eat my parents' memories that my palate cannot place. No names for all the strange fruit that fed them. The names my parents give me have dissipated before I can fix my mind to that task, to hold on. In Cambodia, I walk through a grove of short trees with wide leaves. Mango, they said, which I believed, though I saw no yield. They could have said anything. In the distance, I recognized the coconut trees, iconic and swaying, framing the horizon I only saw just now. Thank you so much.
I couldn't find unmute. Thank you so much, Pichchenda. And thank you for
Mary,
yes, what?
can I buy a copy of the paper Teller Diorama? I need to buy a copy. I can't wait to read it, and I couldn't wait till the show was even over. So I'm gonna give you the money, And everybody else should buy a quick copy of the book.
Awesome,
Order
thank
online.
you, Pete.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you for that, that interruption, Jane. It was great. As I was getting ready to say, Pichchenda, thank you so much for your calmness and your poetry. I think if I had started by bringing up Rittenhouse, I would have been cursing and we would have been banned from Facebook. So I appreciate your calm and thoughtful poetry, and it really reminds me of what poetry does, and I thank you for that reminder as well. So let's move on now that we've had our sale and we have our next poet, Jane LeCroy, poet and also a musician. Jane LeCroy fronts the avant-garde avant-pop band, The Icebergs, and the experimental spontaneous music project, I think I say this right, Slice, both on Imaginator Records, Three Rooms Press, published her multimedia book of lyrical poems, Signature Play. Welcome, Jane.
Hi. And Peter's at Jane's house. God, I want to hang out with you guys in person. All right, I'm gonna check the time. It's 4:42. 2, 3, 6, 7. So I'll read until 4:40, 4:50 or whatever, right? God, Zoom's hard for me. All right, you guys, come on, we're gonna read some poems, right? Let's see. This is what I want to tell you. La, 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 la. I'm just like moving some things around on my computer. Wendigo. She will come to you as a lover, even in coldest winter of wayward streams, as if to comfort when there is no comfort. Her face that is no face and any face at all, familiar and half seen, mouthless, but hungry to devour. Biting, eating, gorging, seductive and repulsive, she comes to the starving man to consume him in the lean, dark months, feeding on his need, exposed in the wilderness, when the trees wear snow and ice grabs the rocks. The Wendigo, rising from suffering like frost, towers and creeps encroaching, both native and exotic, an intoxicating strangeness, helplessly welcomed into the heart, gliding to attack, penetrate and deliver, the final gale, the last breath. Thanks, guys. Handle. Like no other hands, your hands on my body, the body, a book that's unfinished, the body, a bed for dreaming, the body, a beast to pack and ride. How to handle the heart that matters most, breast to breast, make it a beacon to light, a building to shelter, a basket to hold. The poem that was published in the anthology is really short, and so I'm doing really short poems to like have a theme happen, you know what I mean? Oh my God. Like snow. Eternally new, it keeps arriving. If you fear it melts away, it surprises you with accumulation. It can seem it will never return, but it comes again, unique, intricate, sparkling, perfect as math, mysterious as magic, infinite. It may sleep and seem far, but it is always and flies all directions. It heeds not up nor down. It wakes us both and makes us shiver as it stokes the heat within. I hope it snows this winter. I hope ice comes down the river in big flows. All right, this is called Stare. Stairs wore every shadow and put them away. The sky's ribcage pulls apart bone, clouds so white, Burning heart of day dresses her in light that turns her skin to cream. Rope harnesses her to this time, embroidered mesh to stitch hand-me-down diamonds. And a porcupine quill hangs from an alloy chain, not to protect, but to adorn. Mask of sun conceal her, the way nudity conceals the soul. Do you guys like this? I do. Okay, like ice. We will keep this between us, like a frozen lake, the face peering through from the other side. Your love haunts. It's too late for rescue. Our obstacles build the bridge that we travel to one another. There will always be something between us that light stitches our shape to. Ghosts. We come across. Press faces. Hands. Thanks. All right, now let's look at this one, this page. It's so quiet at my house. I want to hear like glasses tinkling and stuff and like you breathing, but you're hearing me breathe. Good thing we're breathing, right, guys? Actually, that's making me want to redo this one. We're on screens too much, right? All right. Gosh. Where is it? La, 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 la. Paper's easier. I should have printed it out. I miss your hat and all the rest. I miss my smile, only you can place. I miss our bodies pressed together like hands holding under the table. This is the one that's in the book, okay? Dear Emily. When you think of Emily, who do you think of? Yep, it's her, it's about her. Poets, come on, who's Emily? Dear Emily, hope is a stupid bird. I want to shoot with my gun. Such a small target, I always miss. And that is how hope won. Yeah, that's what we need. That Rittenhouse stuff is like, I'm like so depressed. Seriously, you guys, what are we gonna do? All right, I'm gonna do I think I have a couple more minutes. Are you bored? Are you guys okay? All right. Swaddle. That's what we do to babies, right? Uh-oh. Everything on my computer keeps jumping around. Okay. Swaddle. She appears with her mouth and limbs to wrap you in her starfish grip. As the planet tilts, light shifts. What is illuminated lifts. Shapes fall silver gold. The whole is unknowable, only the outline exposed. The earth wears the veils of seasons, wed to the sun. By the ring of its motion, she comes to you over and over again. Gifting color then takes those leaves, brings joy, then gives grief. Remember her apology and how she kneels at your feet. Remember her apology and how she kneels at your feet. All right, I'll do one more just because I'm actually having fun. I know you probably can't tell. Dear Lake. It's kind of like Dear Emily, but to a lake. When I am with you, I render the part of me society makes me hide. Never whole in life, only in a daydream where all my mistakes are forgiven and all the wars end and I can breathe underwater the way my body did before I was born. When I swim with you, in you, through you, we are one, slipping and sliding, pouring into one another, raising what separates us. When we join, a transformation takes place. Our temperatures change. We pause our breath. Our hearts tread faster. Our skin ripples, the surface is broken, and underneath we find ourselves, each other, brave, wild, held, floating. All right, kids, there you have it, a big dose of Jane LeCroy.
Thank you, Jane. That was a wonderful dose. Thank you. Thank you for the joy and expressiveness. We really enjoyed
Love. I'm writing you guys love poems. It's what we need.
I thought you had a house full of people. I mean, it seemed like you were talking.
Oh yeah, there is a house full of people here.
Yeah, we're all real. So just so you know that. It looks like we're going to have another change in our schedule a little bit. We're still hoping that Diane Goodall will join us. There's a wonderful piece in the anthology called 7 Things You May Not Know About Fainting Goats. But until she does, or hopefully she will, we're going to move straight to you, Jimmy Pappas. Jimmy Pappas is a finalist in the 2017 Rattle Poetry Contest. He won the 2018 Reader's Choice Award. His book, Scream Wounds, A15 Publishing in 2019, contains poems based on veteran stories. He won the 2019 Rattle Chapbook Contest for Falling Off the Empire State Building. Welcome, Jimmy.
Hello, everyone, and a special hello to Deidre out there in Ireland, joining us there. Hi, Deidre. And I'm going to screen share my poems. I like to do that so I can refer to things in the poem. And I hope you can see that. This is a poem that was in the book that was selected. It's called The Heresiarch and the Story of the 9 Copper Birds. In his lifetime, he suffered from unreality, as do many Englishmen. Once dead, he is not even the ghost he was then. Spoken by the narrator in Talon Ucba Orbis Tertius by Jorge Luis Borges. In the winter, X reclines by the log fire and hears 9 copper birds arriving from another hemisphere. They sing vree, vree. They sing vree, vree, vree. In the spring, 2 copper birds build a copper nest under the eaves, while 3 other copper birds lie soundlessly in the leaves. In the summer, 7 copper birds from El Shaddai make 7 copper holes in the pale blue sky. In the autumn, 3 copper birds on a copper branch sing madrigals to the animals of a cattle ranch. In the winter, X lies dead beside the embers of a log fire, while 9 copper birds sit still on a metal wire. To celebrate a day when we all shall die, each copper bird has straw from a nest, a spiderweb from the eaves, some fragments of leaves, the odor of meat to feed the unblessed, and halos from the irretrievable blue of the sky. And they all sing vree, vree. They sing vree, vree, vree. So this poem, every time I look at it, I wonder where it came from. How did I write this? Right? And if I didn't write it, his advice, I mean, if you got something in your head, put it on paper, because this would have disappeared if I didn't put it down. And then I worked on it for a long time, and it just started with just the word heresiarch, which I read in Borges, and I wrote it down, and what is that? I don't know. And then I saw the word copper, and I said, well, copper what? And I thought of copper birds, and I had to have them sing something. And I looked for bird sounds, and I found this one, along with others, but I liked that because it sounded like free. And then I wanted it to be like a soft poem, like these birds are describing life, but very simply and vaguely and calmly, like there's some, like the poem is holding your hand almost as you're dying and quietly telling you it's okay. That the end is like freedom. So vree sounded like free, so I like that sound to it. So I could talk about this poem for a long time, but I won't do that. But I love to go over how a poem is written. And the amazing thing here is that it exists for me. That's the amazing thing. The next one is about my experience in Vietnam. Sunday dinner with the Locke family on the Mekong River. Sergeant Locke invited me to Sunday dinner on the Mekong River with his parents and siblings. They lived in wooden shacks among a cluster of homes raised above the water on poles. A 3-foot wide pathway of slatted boards interlaced this mini village. For the first time in Saigon, I was afraid. I had been prepared to get shot or blown up, but drowning was never on my radar. It seemed somehow inappropriate. I pictured myself falling off and complaining all the way down. I saw children, and I wondered how many others had already fallen to their deaths playing some childhood game. When we arrived at his residence, the father showed me a chicken coop made of wire mesh. I watched the birds shit right into the river. I made the decision to wait until I left rather than do the same. The father killed the chicken for me. I felt guilty, both for the animal and for the family's loss. We ate well, shoveling rice and meat into our mouths with chopsticks. I was sated in the middle of such lack. For that one day we were filled with familial love, and I became their son and brother. The next day, in a tent city surrounded by a minefield, I would again teach their son about killing things other than chickens. This was published in what's called Cha, an Asian Literary Journal in Hong Kong, and I'm worried about them now. I don't know what's happening to the editors there and how, what's going to happen to the journal because of the Chinese takeover. But a little detail here, there's a minefield around the place where my students had to stay. I taught English to them. I was like the first one to teach them. And then they go train with a helicopter pilot. That minefield wasn't to protect them. It was to keep them from deserting. One time I had a student who tried to walk through, maybe he didn't believe there were really mines there, and he blew himself up. He was seriously injured and we never saw him again. I don't think he died from the wounds. So it was tough for these guys that I was teaching, very tough. Next, I'm going to talk about a 3-legged deer that lived right out back here in my yard for a little while. True story, right? 3-legged deer. She sits under the spruce tree in my backyard. When she stands, the bottom half of her left front leg dangles at the joint, an orchid waiting to bloom. I approach her and whisper, "Apples." It becomes her name. I dub thee Apples. Each day I go into the woods like a mendicant friar and place a spread of fruit before her. She never displays any sign of pain, only strength and magnificence. In time, she accepts my offerings. Now I ask her to accept my love. I cut up an apple on a platter. I set it down before her with a rose on the side. I lower one knee and genuflect. I stretch out my arms and bow my head. Milady. I hope for one summer together before the bullet that is sure to come. She will bear me 2 spotted fawn children. Our daughter will be a long-legged beauty prancing across fields. The smell of her in estrus will cause males to bash their heads together. Our son will have the largest antlers in school. In the fall, when he is in rut, he will strut down the corridors with a herd of cartwheeling cheerleaders, flashing their white tails behind them. So that took a wild turn in the middle there, right? We're having kids together and everything else. But I wanted to do that. I went in that direction rather than just talking about the poor deer out there and explaining all that went on with them. So that was fun for me to do too. Now 2 short poems about family type poems. This is about my dad. The wake-up call. When it was time to wake me up to go fishing, He stood at the end of the bed and held my foot in his hands as if it were a piece of crystal, the way he must have done when I was a baby. But I was too tired to wake up and too young to understand how much he needed me to be his son. I love that he would hold my foot. That's how he woke me up in the morning when he needed to. Hold my foot until I woke up. And I know later in life that I owe him as much as he owes me. And I should have went fishing. I should have got out of bed and went fishing with the poor guy who works all day long, and needed me to go with him fishing, and I didn't do it. And I realize now it was a failure. And I always try and encourage children, they owe their parents things too, as well as the other way around. And now here's my little brother. The Burial of Hamlet. We buried Hamlet with all the adornments of a prince of hamsters, acorns and flowers, pine cones and pebbles, twigs and mystical shapes, and covered it all with a high mound of dirt. The next day, unaware that I watched through a window, you dug up Hamlet's grave. You stood in the backyard with a stick in your hand, poking at his still body, the permanence of death already seeping into your 6-year-old world. And when we talk to a kid about burying someone, they don't always understand. You really have to explain death early to young children. Or that you're going to tell them mommy's in that ground there at this grave. They think mommy's really in there. And it can be really difficult for them. So explaining death, I think, is critical. And I don't know if that's my last time or not, but here's my kitty. Sorry about that. I do have one more. Is that okay? This is a kind of a funny one, so I think I'll read it. The purple ballet shoes. This morning on my front porch, a special delivery messenger left me a pair of purple ballet shoes resting on top of a man's dance outfit. In my excitement, I tossed off my clothing, buttocks to the begonias. I stepped into my dance belt, a sturdy thong. No panty lines for me. Next, my black leotard. Finally, the purple shoes. I was not only le danseur, but I was le danseur de la frondaison. I glissaded up to my neighbor's yard, where he stopped his leaf blower. I lifted my leg in front at a 90-degree angle with the supporting foot à terre, my left arm held over my head in a curved position, and my right arm extended to the side. Demi-plie, stretch, demi-plie, stretch, and hold. My neighbor blinked at me. Grand plie, stretch, and hold. He pointed his leaf blower at me. I asked him, pas de deux, monsieur? He blasted me with his leaf blower. I became leaves, sisson fermé, sauté arabesque, décoté cabriolet. I whipped a circle turning with one leg. Fouette ronde de jambes led tournant for the coda. I finished with a little jump and a tour en l'air. With small, even steps, pas de bourrée couru, I returned home. Next week, I plan on showing my neighbor a brand new special delivery outfit with a pair of black leather, spit-polished, Army surplus combat boots. I had that, I had a line in my journal. I find a pair of purple ballet shoes on my deck, and 2 years later, I saw that line and wrote the poem. 2 years later, and I just researched ballet. I knew more about ballet for one day than I'd ever learned in my life. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jimmy. You took us on a journey with you into your imagination. And I should have mentioned that poem that you read from the anthology was the last poem, and I've been so fascinated about where you came up with the idea. So thank you for sharing that. You don't even know. All right, our next reader is Alan Semerdjian. Alan is an Armenian-American writer, musician, and educator. His poems have been called well worth your reading by Pulitzer Prize winner Peter Balakian, and his music is beloved by fans around the world. He has been a public school English teacher for the past 25 years. Welcome, Alan.
Hey, everybody. The curatorial gods must have been listening. Jimmy, I had a ferret named Hamlet, actually. I buried that ferret at the Walt Whitman birthplace where I used to be the caretaker for about 4 years, living in the old kitchen wing. We buried Hamlet out in the back. There are other connections too to Jimmy, which may reveal themselves. I just want to say, so what a relief from a storm it is to be here among you all. I don't know if other people feel that way, but I'm feeling that right now. So thank you for great weather for making this possible. So the poem from the really terrific collection is a poem about my father, and it's called "A Hole in the Night." It kind of came in a bit of a dream, I guess. The hole in the night. My father had a hole in the night into which he would walk and disappear for a few hours. I mostly knew where he was, so it wasn't the space that drew me in, but the idea of it, like a door in a part of the mind pushed open. Every night like clockwork, without any need of repair for years. He was betting. It was honest, and there was nothing else left, for him except those horses and the smoky conversations mostly men have when almost everything else is put away. When I think about it, I imagine how young we both were. He feeling his way around fatherhood, and me just coming to understand the ways in which we walk out of things we love but never leave, or at least the idea of it, which I have probably kept too close my entire life, and which I hear in the part of the mind pushed open when I'm filling the hole with words. A couple from poems that haven't found a home yet, but there will probably appear in what will eventually be like a second full-length collection. The collection right now is called The Birds and Other Flying Things. And I think the collection kind of is concerned with like ephemeral things, like fleeting things, which feel prominent in my life right now. The airplanes. In the daylight hours, when in the middle of a game or impressions made of chalk and rhyme, they appear above us, just beyond reach, but close enough to make the dream of flight a palpable thing. Lift the roof off, the home almost, transform in the wake. When it passes, my son, not old enough yet to understand gravity, lifts a finger toward the sky and intimates proof of lessons I can't believe he's already learned. Airplane, where are you going? Don't leave me. Please take me with you, he says. And in those first nights away from our bed, finally, it's the whale songs in the sky that drag their silhouettes across sleep to keep him up and deep in the idea of it. And me too, across the hall, still awake in this mirror song. How long must we last, the heart's winged murmurations, until we see we are never truly alone? That's one of the flying things. There are other flying things. I don't know about you, but I've always been kind of just incredibly fascinated with whoever's responsible for those birds on Avenue A that just boom, 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 boom from Tompkins to the ceilings above the bagel store, and a million years ago, the No-Tell Motel and Brownies, and those birds, probably nobody is responsible for them other than themselves. But this is for those birds. This is the birds of Avenue A. The birds of Avenue A are impressionist painters on a date with afternoon light. They swing through myths of East and West as if there were no grid before them. They soar with new impenetrable dreams we've cupped in our hands like fallen apricots, then let go to the sky only to see the turn of leaves to wings, the explode of pit into ever-seeing, ever-reaching eyes. Egoless, boundless, erotic, they fly over us, no flags, but that which alights feather and swoon, marvel and the original plan. They raise the horizon like a swollen tent and dive into the arms of Ararat's valley. Their migrations dazzle inside the murmur, heat for miles upon impossible miles, and they fill the memory with a dose of maze, conduct in calm internal measurements. They are together and not from the same planet. Their propulsion is every city's bells, reverberating in these forever new silences at history's mercy. How clean our suffering, one form of flightlessness or another, how clear their antidote to empire and to undress in manifold shades of some idea, under sun, indivisible, or if only the whatever is now. I love those birds. They're really just joyful and incredible birds. I don't know. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Am I the only one who's noticed the beautiful birds of Avenue A? I don't know. If there's a story behind them, don't tell me it. One more. This is a poem that was kind of birthed from an image of the Kazan Chetsot's cathedral in an area of, well, it's not in Armenia, but an area just east of Armenia called Shushi, which is in the Nagorno-Karabakh area. It's a very kind of disputed, complex territory. Recently, in a 44-day war in September, the authoritarian regime of Azerbaijan sort of retook this area, and during that time did lots of damage to all these incredible historic, cultural places in the area of Shushi, and people sort of moved out and kind of in these marches that were more than faintly reminiscent of Armenian genocide history. It's affected my grandfather deeply. In any case, this is a poem that sort of birthed from the image of that, something on Reuters. I think it was kind of, or AP News was kind of circulating this image around. It was a big hole in the roof of the church, and Poetry International decided to publish this on a dispatch platform, and I was grateful for that. This is called The Hole in the Church of My Heart. This will be the last one. Thank you. There's a hole in the church of my heart, fire in the palm of the young boy's mind. There is loss at the monument of topple, unannounced at midday unsteadiness. There are 15 minutes to see the birds when my breath and its rooms escape me. There are myths of intention circling skies like vultures and parades of new madrigal incantations. The letters of former words scattering away, from clusters of pages, munitions. There is a swallowing of whole tongues, a burying of more than just heads. In the afternoon, these voices seek shade to complete their inconceivable sentences. In the evening, there's a snake, the black garden. Children begin to chase its tail again because there is no other play. I see the moon through the whole of the night, and I know, at least, that in thickening smoke and holy gaze, I am not alone. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate the time and a great collection, great weather. Keep it up.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you for your reading. So it's amazing how you're right. The birds, it's not just even your connection to Jimmy's work, but there have been birds and trees and joy floating through all of these poems today. I see what you mean about bringing us together. It's feeling good. Thank you for that. All right, next we have Cindy Hoffman. Cindy is the president of the 100 Proof Copy Editing Services and the editor-in-chief of the online journal First Literary Review East. Her latest chapbooks are Habeas Corpus, Glass Lyre Press, and the number 5 is Always Suspect, Presa Press. Collaborations with poet, ecologist Bob Herman, Bob Heeman. She is a proud resident of Brooklyn, New York, where she edits manuscripts, writes book reviews, studies the Russian language, meditates, and agonizes over politics. So thank you, Cindy, and welcome.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you so much. I'm still pinching myself that I'm in this anthology, and I'm thrilled to be here. I hope everyone can hear me. I just got new hearing aids, so I can't hear myself, but that's a good thing. I'm going to start with a short poem. It's called Telling You Everything. It sounds like it should be a long poem, but it's only 5 lines. And it has an epigraph by the great Charles Simic, who said, "Be brief and tell us everything. I am all moan and bone and dangling participles. I am all pipes and drums, but no voice box. My body is hamstrung and jagged. I am a belly full of barren. These days, I have become nothing but chocolate bars and razor blades." And I have a little sidebar about one of the phrases I used, hamstrung and jagged. And Jane may remember, of course she'd remember, because she was part of Uphook Press before Great Weather for Media came along, right? And one of their anthologies was called Hellbent and Crooked. And I remember reading that, and the phrase stuck with me. So I did hamstrung and jagged. It kind of went together. So that was about what, 8, 9 years ago. But I wanted to show you how you guys have influenced me. The second poem I'm going to read is called Secret. And it was translated into Turkish by a Turkish friend of mine, put in a Turkish magazine called Ki, which I can't read a word of, but I assume my poem is in there because I see my picture. Secret. If you tell me your secret, I will keep it under my derby hat. I will keep it under my green beret. I will tuck it under my satin pillow. I will dissolve it under my hungry tongue. I will mix it with my errant blood. I will shoot it into my impatient veins. I will shoot it up to bloody Mars. I will comb it through my golden hair, which isn't so golden anymore. I will shove it under my bitten nails. I will place it inside Pandora's box. I will stuff it into my Burberry boots. I will pour it into my vodka flask. I will stick it into the thorn in my side. I will whisper it to myself at the end of the day. I will recite it in my devout prayers. I will lay it down on a wooden bier. I will shape it in my careful hands and make it into a glorious poem. Thank you. So I've read 2 poems and I haven't done a shameless plug of my book yet. Habeas Corpus, published by Glass Lyre Press. Corpus means body, and every poem in here deals with a different body part. They're all prose poems. Some are sexier than others, and I'm going to read a poem called Mouth. Mouth. Cluck and chatter. Boy kisses, mouth full of roses. Later, cocks of the walk, an oral history. You got that right. After that, foot in mouth. Oops. It's feeding time at the zoo, but there's nothing left in the trough. And there's no such thing as a boxed lunch. Oh, let me eat cake before I march off to the guillotine. No appetite for war. Burble, babble, and gorge. Shut like a timid clam or singing like a blue canary. Pretty mouth, pouty mouth, putty mouth, poet mouth. Me speak with forked tongue, lolling in my mouth. Let me throw my sins and cusses into the Hudson River, into the Finger Lakes, into Montego Bay, into the Atlantic Ocean. Mouth full of ice pops and sheetrock and snowflakes. Vodka laced with Valium, brickbats and boll weevils, and anything else I can cram, shove, stuff into this ravenous mouth, venomous mouth, unquenchable mouth. You could order a copy of the book. It's a very short book, either at Glass Lyre Press or on Amazon. Now, the next poem has a little Great Weather for Media backstory. I wrote this poem and I said, this would be a good fit for Great Weather for Media. I think I'll submit it to Great Weather for Media. But then Jeffrey Cyphers Wright, the editor, you may all know him, the editor of Live Mag, read the poem. He said, I must have that poem. Please, I want to publish that poem. I said, no, I'm kind of saving it for Great Weather for Media. But he wrested it out of my grubby hands and he published it. And 2 weeks ago, he nominated it for a Pushcart Prize. And meanwhile, it forced me to write the baby poem, which ended up in Great Weather for Media. So it was a win-win situation, a good year for poetry. But I'll read it. It's called Inner Life with Sabotage. This poem will be intentionally vague. Candle wicks flicker, chemicals misfire, crossed wires refuse to untangle. Sometimes I slip into something less comfortable. Carousel horses and streetlights make me weep deeply. My handsome father's death has turned into stilted breath. My benevolent brother's death is still caught in my throat. Everyone gives me flowers to fill the fissure between limbs and loss, and I bury them under layers of what? Nothing but my own undoing. A startled and startling voice tells me to go even deeper than this. Onyx and obsidian wrestle it out with a chest full of white diamonds. Frankly, my dear, I've had enough of dancing through the murk with my not-so-better angels. Excuse me while I remove this battering ram from my solar plexus. Let me open my palms to the hazy sunshine. I promise I will stop shaking soon. So Jane could figure out whether she would have taken it. But as Mary knows, my poem in Great Weather for Media has a little baby in it, and the baby's crying like hell right now, so I'd better read it. My baby crawls. My baby crawls into the pantry, searching for things. Her ragdoll cat, a fresh white linen diaper, love, and nourishment. That's what babies do. She eats a few Cheerios that have spilled out of the giant yellow box that holds nothing but O's. She eats a few sugar ants that are slogging their way to building a sacred mountain of dirt. And just like those busy builders, my baby follows her own lofty trail. She is a colony unto herself. Her head is full of magpies, blackbirds, robins, and wrens, though she doesn't yet have words for the birds she observes through an unfettered aviary, the not yet hatched nest of her sweet mind. All of this is going on while I, her mother, am wielding a quill and doting on anecdotes, narratives, memoirs, and little white lies. Little white lie number 1. It's a nondescript black ballpoint pen, not a quill. Little white lie number 2. There's not a single ant in the pantry. Little white lie number 3. I don't really have a baby. I'm going to read 2 more. This one was my attempt at a surrealistic poem. It's very short. It's called Stochastic Thoughts. And if you don't know what stochastic means, don't feel bad. And I just dropped my microphone, my audio. Don't feel bad because I used the thesaurus to look up a synonym for random. I wanted to do random thoughts like the surrealists, but that sounded too mundane, so I called it Stochastic Thoughts. I'm hungry, I'm full. I'm hungry, I'm full. I've misplaced the moon. Hey, look, I've got a Ferris wheel in my pocket. And I sent it to Shot Glass Journal, and they better freaking take it. I'm going to end off with, I was doing an I Am the Girl series. Every poem was I am the girl who, and it was sort of modeled after Anne Waldman's Fast Speaking Woman, where she says, I'm a bird woman, I'm a this woman. And a publisher just approached me recently and wants to publish a bunch of them, but they're kind of outdated now because they have a lot of political references. But I'm going to read one that I think is still relevant. It's called I Am the Girl, travel version. I am the girl with the bon voyage eyes. I am the girl who is waving goodbye. I am the girl with the contraband in her backpack. I am the girl who won't take off her shoes. I am the girl who won't wash her hands. I am the girl who put the tower in your Eiffel. I am the girl who put the cockney in your bollocks, Jane. I am the girl with Stockholm syndrome. I am the girl who sold you that bridge, the Brooklyn Bridge. I live in Brooklyn. I am the girl who prays for Palestine. I am the girl with a boatload of baggage. I am the girl who never leaves home without it. I am the girl who doesn't go very far. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Cindy. You know, I've been waiting to hear about that baby girl, like that stuttered last line. Thank you. It's so
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much. All right, we've come to our last reader of the day. Thank you so much, all of you. Everything has just been so wonderful today. Our last reader is Billy Cancel. Billy Cancel is a poet, performer, and sound collage artist. His work has appeared in Boston Review and PEN America, amongst many others. His collection, Mock Through Rasping Crow, is out on Blaze Box Books. Billy lives in Brooklyn, there you go, with Thursday Fernworthy, Lauds, and together they perform as the noise poetry duo Title Channel. So welcome, Billy.
Reconciling fireworks on the drain with a dead, done-for look. Reconciling fireworks on the drain with a dead, done-for look must mean it's time to smash cubes turn onto Bolt Street, since we walked the piazzas long enough where Skeleton Army hang out, though you didn't mind and at least acknowledge the need to guzzle gulp, else lose all luminosity. Quite a bullshitter myself, I find it all rather interesting from our starting point of undisclosed peripheries, empty shovel, and dilemmas on mute. This world of blows invisible, much as expected. If antic, joyous amateurism dawdles on so we can't make applesauce, let's do the twist raging favourite. Such rough, explicit labour, just dull, general wandering to do. Whatever happened to, we're both a pair of ends at the centre, primed to Casablanca electrify. Now it's all about your tangle. Filling myself all up on worm castles. Filling myself all up on worm castles, have learnt to cop it sweet and give out dirty orbs through attitude adjustment hour. Eat a serving of the great unknown. Get the green apple quick step. Crawl out. File the day under bonus damage. Screw up my face, distort my features so I consume less oxygen and my heart beats less. Because in hot rain, hard town, I fried my beans frobnicating to the back of the room while scanner and ignition eluded me. So I let that poppy show run its course, then got him down close to syntax, gave way to speech, musical score, then noise. Alone in my high, dreary spot, above the searching mouths, my dial set to Where Did the Road Go radio. And what will I hear in the trivial songs of the Corn Bunting and Yellowhammer? We need a piss quiz from you, no commercials, and a piss quiz. Coming down from my wizard phase. Coming down from my wizard phase, surrounded by cake and booze, I discovered the merits of half belief and let the angst line go. Deep into the folkways of that swirling nocturnal blur where he picked up his marbles and went home, and numerous forces interest encounter each other, so you can be both all about that micro niche and go off some people. Billy No Bird and Johnny on the Spot are the same dynamic relationship structure. Two lamps burning and no ships at sea. Knotted composition reinforced by its own superlative. Sod them if they can't take a joke, because idea hamster won't unfuck this hospital hold. Commuting daily to and from inverted commas just for a chicken in a basket at the Stardust Hotel. I had the briefest of contact with psych abstract disaster scene now. It is morning in the swamp and the Olympics have left town. It is morning in the swamp and the Olympics have left town. It is morning in the swamp. We are a post-punk unicorn tapestry. We are a post-punk unicorn tapestry upon the ragged edge of constant relaunch. Sizzle, sozzle, unfolding backwards. You are invited not to come. There were problems at the core, so I stewed around that vault garden and nowadays keep going like a windmill gone mad. Did we winter good? Well, we're amongst the doctors, then back in limbo with a stomach full of breadstrings waiting to break out in cash. You chant total peace on a perfect earth. We sing atmospheric synth dirge. Whose oak burner gets us fastest out of Shark City Sadland? Buzz Crusher, this is the other dance. I am your last red light. I am your last red light. So alleviate all mundane images, insignificant acts. Nothing is possible for the one who draws the symmetrical angel. There is no hope for him as all green light imitators surge. Broccoli, white, purple, fresh, scarlet. Prove I harbor no significant urge to withhold information from your activated strategy board, your stringy, unchewable grace. Wherever it is sharp, always is a wide word amongst the conifers. Always is a wide word, flaccid energy arc, or some sort of cruise thorns also. Everything at once or something all the time. In area 51%, am hardly caking. In area 51%, am hardly caking. Despite our hard-driven techno wild hunt soundtrack, Dogman Nation's dismal repetition still gives you swash, backwash. So I wear my boxer shorts inside out and ward off whatever. Think about bait and switch, but really can't be fucked to bait. Elaborately constructed factor then for this hanger on who has let go, but is stuck, is stuck. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Billy, for bringing us home. I don't know where we are, where home is, but here we are. It was wonderful.
North Brooklyn, 11222's zip code.
Okay, thanks. All right, I want to thank everybody who is joining us today, all the readers, all the contributors to our fabulous paper Teller Diorama. And just, it means everything, guys. I think a lot of you have mentioned what it means to be here together today and the